and being a kind of I'll cut that because I thought it'd be funny, and then it was stupid.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ritual Chamber. I am Josh, this is Jeff, and today we are going to be covering the MCU's newest release and the kickoff to Phase 5, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Phase 5 is officially here, and just so we put this out there right now, so we don't forget, spoilers. We are going to get into this pretty deeply and talk about, definitely spoil some stuff. Even though this video probably won't be out for a couple weeks after, and if you care, you've already saw it, and if you don't, whatever, just don't watch it.
We're kind of lazy.
Yeah, we're kind of lazy. So, let's get into the synopsis.
Yes, let's do it.
So, Scott Lang has moved on from superheroics, enjoying success and celebrity from his autobiography, Look Out for the Little Guy, while also focusing on being a father to his daughter, Cassie. After showing Scott a two-way radio to the quantum realm, they are all transported down to the mysterious realm where they encounter a ruthless tyrant in Kang the Conqueror, and those working to overthrow him. Almost got through it, but
that was a valiant effort.
Valiant effort. No,
well done.
Yes, well done. So let's get into it.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp. What did you think?
I personally loved it. I think it was a little bit oversold as a almost Avengers level type of movie. And it's not. This is an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Which I think works on its own merits. But I think that was like, if there's one little thing that I kind of thought was didn't meet my expectations, was that. I think it was very much sold on this, like, it's like almost an Avengers level type of movie. And in a lot of ways it is, but it's still an Ant-Man movie. It's not the Avengers. It's not, you don't get a crap ton of cameos from like other Avengers. You don't get,
you do not.
It's really his story and Kang's story.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
So
my fine gentleman.
I think
my fine gentleman. That was stupid.
I think this was a little bit below my expectations on this one. I understand that it's Ant-Man, and so his character is kind of more comic relief in most situations, and I enjoy that when it accompanies other things. I feel like there was some like really good implications in here that are going to be explored obviously as we get into Phase 5, and this one just had a little bit too much campiness for me.
And you don't like the camp. I love the camp.
And so I don't know, like based off the trailers, again, it came off a little bit more serious, like it was going to be a little bit, the tone was going to be different than what we actually saw. And so although I did enjoy it, it just wasn't, it didn't meet my expectations.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm right there with you. Like, I think my expectations were super high, and I don't think I wouldn't say it came in below my expectations or that I'm disappointed in it. I actually really, really enjoyed it for what it is. But yeah, you're totally right. I think it definitely got this. The trailers were very much giving it this. Like I said, it was improperly billed.
Yeah,
it's more of an Avengers level type of movie, but then once you go into it, and it is just an Ant-Man movie that kind of has these extra implications going forward.
Yes.
But still made it very enjoyable. I mean, I love the campiness and the jokes.
Yeah.
And I love that Jonathan Majors, at least when he was on screen, no jokes.
Yes.
None whatsoever.
And I agree with that.
Like that's what really kind of set the tone. Of Kang and the other Kangs that will be arriving throughout the next two phases. Because this is it's very obvious that. And the reason Kevin Feige has even said he hired Jonathan Majors because he knew he was the kind of actor who could embody different versions of the same person.
Yes.
And different characters, and we already know that he's going to show up throughout the next two phases. Maybe not in every single movie, but quite a few times as different versions of Kang or Mortis or Scarlet Centurion or Ramatut or a ton of others. I mean, why list all the names now? Because there's 8 crap billion of them.
And that was one thing that I will agree with you on is Jonathan Majors was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. We got to talk about the star of the show first.
And in his every time that he was on screen, it was fantastic. Yeah. Like it was, he did really well with the character.
It's very menacing.
Very menacing. Yeah.
Had a very imposing presence.
Yes, absolutely. And it was one thing I really liked was the introduction into his character, how we kind of see how he ended up where he was, and when he was on screen, I mean, it was great. And you know, one thing with the MCU, what I really did like about this movie, they kept a lot of the costume design for the characters that they introduced. Pretty comic book accurate, and I liked that. I liked a lot of the way that the
Marvel's always been good with like keeping it fairly comic book accurate, but more realistic and less silly.
Yeah,
because I mean, Kang in the comics, it basically looks like he's wearing a green tunic.
Yes,
with, like,
yes,
and it is silly. Like even in more modern day comics, it's all billowy and weird. Like it looks like he's wearing a ill-fitting shirt.
Yeah, but it was cool to see how the blue face was like a face shield rather than like a mask.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I
a little wonky there sometimes in the CGI of the blue face.
Yeah, there were times. There were times. I mean,
times.
You know, given the 300 studios that worked on it, there was obviously going to be
but you know, hey,
some problems
again,
there.
I've always said I don't harp on on wonky CGI too much. I'll point it out, but I'm not going to harp on it. I totally get it. You got to do what you got to do, and sometimes things just don't line up quite right. And
you know, maybe people weren't interacting and getting the message across on what needed to be refined and what didn't. You know.
So yeah, let's go through this. We just talked about Jonathan Majors, but Paul Rudd back as Ant-Man.
Yes.
And the Ant-Man movies are on my lower rung of like the ones I love, like the films I love in the MCU. But I've always loved that there is a heist aspect. Yeah. And I like that they brought that kind of back. Yeah. In this one, it's still another heist, sort of, but not really. Yeah. Because I mean, realistically, he just goes, "There's the thing, get it." You know.
Yeah. And we. I think with that
was one of the weirdest scenes I didn't quite get, but
with Paul Rudd, like I mean he's great for the role, and obviously like he provides that comic relief, which is great. He's great at it. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed seeing him reprise the role. And
I've always thought it was a great choice to make it Scott Lang and not Hank Pym. Because Scott Lang was the second Ant-Man in comics. Hank Pym was the first. Yeah. And making it so that because he is less serious, because Hank Pym in the comics is way more serious.
Is way more serious.
And a total bastard. I just throw that out there. but Hank Pym in the movies is not, so we don't have to talk about that much. And his comedic timing is just perfect.
Yeah, and also Sexiest Man of the Year last year, right?
That was like 2 years ago, I think.
I'm pretty sure it was last year.
Okay.
But
although that means I have to correct myself on one thing. There is one joke with Kang on screen where he and Thor are often confused because of similar body type. That's like the one joke.
Oh yeah.
You get with Jonathan Majors on screen.
Yeah. So a couple other characters in this. Obviously, we have Michelle Pfeiffer. Return as
Janet Van
Dyne, and then we have
the original Wasp.
Yes, and then we also have Hank Pym himself, Michael Douglas. For some reason, I couldn't get behind Michael Douglas in this.
Really?
I don't know why.
You know, I think it is because they do play him off as a much more goofy. I think he's a lot more lighthearted now, than he was in, like, say, Ant-Man 1.
Yeah, and I don't know, for some reason, to me, the shift. But you don't really know why it happened. It just of course. You totally happened.
No, you totally know why. Because so in Ant-Man 1, he's still like mourning the loss of Janet.
Yeah.
And then the stealing of his tech by S.H.I.E.L.D. and his protege Darren Cross, which we will get to soon. And then in Ant-Man 2, he's pissed because Scott took the suit to Germany and then got locked up, thus putting a spotlight on him. And that's why him and Hope had to constantly be moving, because they were being looked for by the FBI.
Yeah.
Right? Did I say that correctly? Yes, looked for by the FBI. That's a bad sentence, but whatever. It's correct.
Grammar.
So that's why. But after they got back Janet, you know, the end scene, one of the end scenes of Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they take the house at the beach, and he embiggens it.
Yeah.
Silly fucking word, by the way. But in doing research for this, I've had to read and or hear that word a million times, because embiggening.
Yes.
Anyway, they embiggen the house, and then they're on the beach, and you know it's like happy ever after. Now they have this kind of like happy family unit of Hope, Hope, Scott, Cassie, Janet, and Hank. So it's sort of like they are sort of like this big sort of extended nuclear family.
Okay,
and that's why
I could. Well, after that breakdown, okay, understand.
Here comes Jeff again, breaking it down.
I just personally wasn't. I don't know. His character didn't work for me, and to be honest,
he is played like a silly grandfather.
Either did Janet for me.
Really, because I thought Janet would like. See, I think Hope, Evangeline Lilly, Hope, she's sort of just there as the worried daughter.
100%, 100%. In this movie,
and then kind of comes in to save Scott's ass every now and again.
It like realistically, it could have just been called Ant-Man, Quantumania.
Yeah.
The Wasp aspect was really lacking in this for me.
Yeah. I do like Evangeline Lilly a lot, but it's just like
she's great. She was just kind of there,
and she's more reacting to everything, and I guess it kind of makes sense given. The thing I did love about Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne, especially in this one, because it makes sense of like there's a lot they didn't tell. In fact, there's a cut scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp where Janet does mention that in the quantum realm there are worlds and species and civilizations that they had theorized about, but would never have imagined like the level of basically what she was living in as it shows in this movie. And then for them to cut that scene kind of was for a purpose, because now it's like a secret she's been holding on to, like what she's been doing. And being an accomplice to Kang's rise and being you kind of getting into the societies down there and kind of being someone people knew, and then also being a revolutionary or freedom fighter of sorts. It makes a lot of sense that she had kept that all secret, especially her little trysts with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And probably Kang. Okay.
Yeah, and probably Kang. I was going to say it's a little bit of both. And it kind of alludes to that. Like, I was down here for 30 years, right? And so you don't know. You don't know what happened there. I guess it's like leave it.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Kang and Michelle Pfeiffer doinked.
But I think that those were two characters that just really, again, when it comes to Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was really like Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and Janet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
And as much screen time as they got, I just didn't feel like their time on the screen wasn't as impactful as I think they had meant for it to be, for me.
Okay, fair enough. Least. I mean, I think Janet's story, I think hers is totally impactful. Again, you kind of need that guide as you go down there, because the guide can't be Kang. It can't be the revolutionaries, like Gentora or something like that. That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You need to have someone who's familiar with the characters you're following, and then familiar with this. But yeah, you're right. You're totally right. That Hope and Hank are just kind of like there. Like there's the kind of silly old grandfather, and then like the doting daughter who is just sort of kind of blown away by all this new information that telling. But so they speak, and then Cassie, played by Catherine Newton. I was kind of sad to see that the actress who played Cassie in Endgame didn't reprise this role, because it doesn't make any sense, because she would have been the right age.
Yeah.
Unless maybe that girl didn't write down her name, but doesn't act much or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they just wanted a bigger name, and Catherine Newton certainly has been coming up in the world, in the film world. Has done quite a few things that have been very, very well received. So maybe it's just that they want kind of a little bit more recognizable person. But I thought she was great.
Yeah, I did like her character. I think
she's not as annoying as you kind of think she would be.
Yeah, and I liked her role too. I think one thing that I didn't like about this was that she was just Scott Lang as a kid.
Sort of.
And I think that's kind of a tired trope, when you like father, like son, in this case like daughter, but
well, no, see, I disagree. I think she is what she is. She's
a little bit more Robin Hood.
No, she's more of what she idolizes about Scott as a hero and an adult.
Yeah.
Than he was as a kid. She's just trying really hard to be like him.
Yeah,
and it goes back to the line from Ant-Man when Hank tells Scott to earn that look in your daughter's eye, because in her eyes you are her hero. And earn that look, and it harkens back to that, and it kind of completes that circle of a plot thread, and kind of overarching theme and story, like a character building for all 3 movies.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, not my favorite, but one that I was happy to see, but again, I don't know, some characters just didn't work for me in this. Corey Stoll come back as MODOK.
Yes. But it's so great to see a live action MODOK.
No, it was great, and it looked good, like it was fun, but they dumbed down his character.
Well, and I think that was the joke, because MODOK is a fucking silly character.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And now, like in the comics, he's much more serious. And it was actually a fun joke that I actually really, really enjoyed. Because anytime he tried to get on some like maniacal speech, because that was kind of MODOK's thing in the comics.
Yes.
They'd cut him off with Darren.
Yeah,
That was like the funniest bit.
No, it was for sure.
All the flashbacks.
Yeah.
When it's doing the flashbacks, Scott cuts him off.
Yeah,
it's like that was great. I actually like laughed out loud because I thought it was so clever and like cleverly done. The one down with MODOK is that I wish he had survived the movie.
Yes,
like I really
agree.
wish that he had gotten out of the quantum, like through whatever hijinks and shenanigans, he got out of the quantum realm and was able to get back into the real world, and then maybe can go on and we can keep MODOK maybe like mangled so they don't have to put Corey Stoll's face, silly looking face.
Yes, I know, right?
So he can look more mangled like he does in the comics, like almost zombified, sort of, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at. And then he could like, you know, maybe lead AIM or something, and because AIM's got to still be out there in some capacity.
To be, yeah, it has to be.
And then that he, maybe it'll be part of like Captain America: New World Order, just a little bit, just sort of in the background, or working with the leader or whatever the villains are for that movie. I don't know, something I thought about that would have been kind of cool to keep MODOK around, but it's just great to see a silly ass character like MODOK.
Yes,
in live action,
and realistically, for the MCU. This was the best movie to do it.
Oh, totally. Because you can get
yeah, and I mean, and that was one thing with this movie, you know, is it was kind of like Star Wars in the MCU. That's what it felt like.
Oh, very
to
much.
me.
I mean, it had the cantina scene and everything.
They just had, they have the cantina scene, and then you have all these just random beings just existing in this space with no real rhyme or reason. A lot of them don't have, you know, other species that look the same. I guess the most common one was a form of human, but they weren't necessarily humans. Bill
Murray.
Exactly, Bill Murray. So you know, this was the perfect movie to introduce that character, and this is where it worked. I think that the reason why he's not going to make it outside of this is because take him outside of it, it's just going to be silly.
Fair enough. Very good point. One part of the movie that I could have kind of gone without, although it does make sense and I get why they're there, is the revolution subplot. Or I don't want to call it a subplot, it's sort of main part of the plot, but it's just sort of, I don't know, freedom fighters always kind of in alien lands, always sort of, all right, that's sort of trite. Well, a little bit, that's been done before.
And that was one thing that...
I liked all the characters. I liked David, I can never pronounce his fucking name, David S. Malchin, who played Kurt in the other movies, played Veb, which is the blob who wants holes. Yeah. And then freaking Katie O'Brien is Gentura, and William Jackson Harper is Claus. And then a bunch of other random characters, humanoid and not humanoid. They were really cool characters. It was just kind of and I get it, it's the type of movie where you can just go crazy, like, you know, their houses live. Which was another funny joke of your houses are alive, yours are dead.
Well, and that was like one thing that I think in particular with this movie, in regards to like kind of the direction they went, that I do agree with you, where I wasn't a big fan of it, and it was because realistically, as I was watching it, I all I could think of was, this is literally a Star Wars movie in the MCU. Like, that's what it was. It was like you introduce all these crazy species, you have this idea of them fighting
then again, so were the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in a
true, but they also weren't fighting some oppressive tyrant. You know what I mean? Like this followed like a
Yeah,
very...
you never really get the idea that Kang is totally like oppressive. I mean, you do get his like his robotic soldiers kind of going around.
Yeah, exactly.
Policing, but yeah, they could just they could be LA cops for all you know.
But they're woo, wow.
Oh, hey.
But they have that very like stormtrooper.
I would say shots fired, but I'm pretty sure a bullet just comes through him.
They have that very like stormtrooper like presence, and then you have Kang as kind of this like almost Darth Vader and the Emperor at the same time kind of character. So as I was watching this, I was just, I don't know, I just wanted them to do something different. And I think that was really where my dissatisfaction with this came from, was that I was just like, and not saying that you need something original or different.
No.
But something that's like, oh, you're taking one IP that Disney owns and you're placing it into the MCU
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm obviously not that far, but I'm saying there was a lot of similarities that you could draw between the two.
Well, like the movie could have been a little bit longer too. Like it's kind of short.
Yes, absolutely.
Comparatively to like a lot of the more recent MCU movies, which have kind of run on the longer side. I feel like this was pretty short. And it kind of took away a little, like I did feel like Jonathan Majors deserved a little bit more screen time.
Yes, absolutely.
And with the Freedom Fighter stuff, it's like you could have gone a little bit more in depth to what he's been doing to them to make them want to,
overthrow
Freedom Fighters.
Yeah.
Now clearly it obviously shows that he's very ruthless when he's looking for someone.
Yes,
but at this point he's looking for Janet.
Yes.
Yeah, because MODOK got the signal and is who brought them down there.
Yeah, and I think this movie also kind of followed along with what has been Marvel's recent problem with villains is that you're casting these great actors, but you're limiting their screen time. And
don't get me on the bad Marvel villain bad fucking thing, because I wildly disagree. There are instances, and I disagree with it completely.
But that's just what I'm saying.
Jonathan Majors is amazing.
No, he's great. But obviously
more.
For him, we're going to see more screen time, which is great.
And I think
in this movie, he could have used more. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say.
And I think that's why he had a little bit less screen time than we probably would
because we're going to see
because you're going to see him a lot.
Yeah,
don't get sick of Jonathan Majors just yet.
No. And that was the thing too, good point that you made as well with this movie, is that it could have been a little bit longer because it gets into everything really fast. Mm-hmm. You get into them being in the quantum realm really fast. Yeah. Like it's just like, we created this thing, boom, they're there. Like now we're here, what's going on? Oh, Freedom Fighters. Like it just like the plot moved it moved so fast, and like you said, because you had to. But I think that was another thing that I kind of what didn't work for me in this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
everything picks up really quick.
Well, that's the thing. Like you could have spread out a lot of the stuff outside of the quantum realm, and then made like the last half of it in the quantum realm, and then cut out all the Freedom Fighter nonsense, and have it be that Kang and MODOK brought them there, and they're like immediately brought to Kang.
Yes.
Yes. And then you do the heist, and then you're doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree with
heist.
that.
It's still a heist, but like it's really not.
Yeah.
So getting back on Kang again real quick, because he has some like, even though he does have like, not I don't say limited, but he's not on screen as much as I would have liked. Mm-hmm. But again, he's the villain. He's not the focus. I mean, he's focused, but he's not. Like, he's the villain. Like the way he delivers his lines, and they're just something that he is just.
Oh my god!
And that
super captivating.
Yeah, that How I Killed You Before. About killing the Avengers.
Yeah,
that was a great. I wish he had referenced some other Avengers that like say haven't been in the movies yet.
Yeah,
or like or are you the one with the claws? Like that would.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think there was definitely more that they could have done.
Yeah.
With him, but like you said, I mean, when his screen time.
Or I even watched something where it was saying like it would have been cool to see Kang show him, because he can obviously, he has sort of like almost the He Who Remains time pad type of energy where you could show him like other Avengers he killed, like almost in a Flash sort of.
Yeah.
We as the audience won't get to fully see it, but we can kind of see a glimmer of it.
Yeah. But I do agree with you, Jonathan Majors, his delivery, and just, I mean, just the portrayal of the character was fantastic, and I can't wait to see, you know, as we continue to move through Phase 5, just see more screen time for him, and then obviously when we get to like the ending of Phase 5, like what that's going to be like, because we're obviously at that point going to have like a ton of presence for him, and it's going to be just the way he's portrayed Kang in this movie. I can't wait for it. Like it's going to be awesome.
And another thing too, and this is the problem, like pretty much any movie with like a very strong big bad at the end has, where he's one-shotting fucking one-shotting the revolutionaries, but then Scott and Cassie are like, hey, we're here to fight.
Yeah,
it's a me. Let's go.
Yeah,
you know?
No, for sure.
He's one-shotting everybody. Like,
no. I mean, but one thing
for those who don't know, one-shotting means like, you know, in a video game, you'd like one shot.
But one thing to consider here is that maybe he doesn't necessarily want them dead.
I mean, yes, but I mean, Janet totally saw like that he'd like massacred entire timelines and universes. So
that's true.
Now, fuck, we're pretty much already done. Let's get well, real quick. Do you think he's dead?
Who?
Kang.
No.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Of course not.
No, of course not. Of course he's not dead.
Of course not. Of course not. No.
Yeah, that's the first movie.
Well, no. Well,
the first movie in Phase 5.
But you know, there, as it shows in the post-credit scene, the Council of Kangs, which with 8 billion Kangs, which is awesome. Which is awesome, and it's rad that they literally took that from the comics. That exact shot is from the comics.
Yeah.
That is awesome. With Jonathan Majors coming in as Rama Tut, which, like, I was like, that's fucking rad. It looks silly, but it's fucking rad.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Centurion, for some odd reason, had no red on him.
Yes, that doesn't make any sense.
And then a really cool Immortus that looked almost like a Persian like type of god, or old Persian statue or something.
Yeah,
no, but well, the thing is, he gets it's the Loki at the end of Thor. Death.
Yes.
It's the exact same death. He just got sucked into something, and he got sucked into a multiversal engine. So he's basically just going to be imbuing. So this is going to be the Kang.
Yes, I think this is going to be the Kang that we're going to see.
So this isn't going to be like, there's not going to be another variant. I mean, there's going to be other Kang variants. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But we're not going to, like, when we get a new Kang, it's not going to be a different Kang. It's going to be this
Kang. Yeah.
And also, I heard a very interesting theory that this Kang is He Who Remains.
Okay, I didn't know that. But that would make sense.
It would make sense.
Me.
Well, especially when he's showing the timeline, and he even talks about why he's been massacring other timelines. You know, obviously Kang's story is convoluted, and he travels through time and stuff. And then, you know, finally maybe this Kang, and I think that might mean how it ends. Like, it's that this Kang becomes He Who Remains and decides to change it and go back to the TVA and do all that whole thing.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
That is something to think about. One thing, you know, just a couple other things to touch on the movie. I think in regards to the world building, this was fantastic. I thought this was done very well. I mean, didn't get to see any water bears as far as I know. But
water bears?
Water bears. They could have been out there. They could have been out there in the quantum realm.
What are water bears?
What are water bears? Cue the water bear. And that is a water bear. Hope you found that informational for anybody out there who doesn't know what a water bear is. But didn't see any in this movie. But I did think that the world building was really good. Again, kind of harkens a little bit to what I was saying with kind of like the Star Wars feel to it. But just the overall look, it was very like luminescent and vibrant.
Very vibrant.
And I liked that. I liked that.
And it was cool. It wasn't all like, but it's cool that it's explained that why where Janet told them to meet them in Ant-Man and Wasp was the wastelands, the outward area, and you know, kind of here again explaining how there's different ecosystems and different levels, and this is like below that level, and like which kind of in a lot of ways doesn't make sense how she got up to that other area. Yeah. But whatever.
What are you talking about? There's just a basic green tube. You run in it, you jump down, and you end up in another one.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
But
Womp, womp, womp.
yeah. But yeah, I think with that being said, you want to go ahead and get into the monkeys for
keep this short and sweet, in and out.
Yes, let's do it. So I'll go first,
Of course,
as I usually
always.
do. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. You know what? I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 12.
Ooh,
yeah, obviously, as we've been discussing this, it wasn't my favorite. I completely agree with you. Jonathan Majors needed more screen time, and I understand the reasoning for not having him have so much screen time right now. But I think when you're introducing a big bad that's going to be as imposing as he's going to be on the MCU for Phase 5, I would have loved to seen a little bit more. I'm sure that we're going to get more in regards to his backstory, maybe what happened in the quantum realm to bring him into how he became who he became. But I would have loved to have seen more of that explored in this, at least a little bit. Yeah. You know, give just a little bit.
Maybe even an opening scene where it shows him be exiled by the Council of Kang.
Yeah, and just something along those lines. It would have been fun to give his character a little bit more development early on, so we kind of know what's going to happen. Again, like for me, you know, there were just certain characters in this that just didn't work for me. I don't know. It was difficult to really get engaged in this movie. When it comes to like the stunts, cinematography, world building, like all those things were done so fantastically. I love this aspect of the movie. Paul Rudd obviously is great, but overall 7 out of 12 for me. It just wasn't my favorite.
All right, fair enough. It's not my favorite either. I mean, it definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 10 out of 12. Like I said before, it just, I think I went in with a little bit more of an Avengers level mindset, and then as the movie was going on, that's where it clicked with me. I'm like, okay, this is still just an Ant-Man movie. We're just introducing Kang. And we're going to get more of him. We're going to get a lot more of him as the next two phases go on up to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So I'm okay with that. I think the comedy, for the most part, was well placed and funny and landed. The one that did not land with me at all, and I said before, I kind of wish MODOK had lived that we could not have this fucking cringy ass moment where how he, and I just kind of get it that he shows how like nutso he is, but how, you know, you're like a brother to me. It was great. It was great for Paul Rudd's reaction.
Yes,
but not the line. And
yes.
I guess I'm an Avenger now. I got to die an Avenger, and it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it in the sense that, like, it shows how off he is, like, mentally, but at the same time, it was just cringy as all hell.
Yeah.
To give fucking Jonathan Majors is a stone cold badass. He delivers one of the raddest, freaking most stone cold lines when, you know, Janet confronts him about, like, you know, you were killing trillions, and he goes, I wish it mattered.
Yeah.
I was like, that's stone freaking cold.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And I think the fight scene between him and Paul Rudd at the end is actually very brutal, very visceral.
It is for sure.
After you see Kang just like one shot dudes and then have to like still fist fight Ant-Man. But it makes sense because his armor is damaged and stuff.
Yeah.
And so his ability to tap into that, his energy powers and whatnot is a little bit limited and dampened. But yeah, 10 out of 12. And the one thing I definitely did not like was the voiceover at the end, because it makes sense in the beginning because it's intercut. It's him reading his own book.
Yes.
At a reading, but then the one at the end is just his inner monologue, and it just doesn't make sense. It's kind of silly, and I understand why they did it, but it's just to kind of like bookend the movie like that, and I get it, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense to have this like inner dialogue being played over Welcome Back, Kotter, which was a great choice of music, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, you know, before we wrap it up, the one thing is coming into a new phase, I just wanted something that hit a little bit harder.
Fair enough.
And that's it for me. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Going to do that a little bit differently this time in regards to animations. And we're going to be signing out from the Ritual Chamber. Have a good day and or night. Bye-bye.
So, come back in and go, and that's a micro bear. A
Water
bear. Micro water bear. Bear, micro. Man, bear, pig. Scott Lang has moved on from superheroics, enjoying success and celebrity from his autobiography. Okay. My mummy made me eat all my M&Ms. My mummy made me eat all my M&Ms. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
All right. I've been fucking talking all day. I should know how to talk.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think you ever know how to talk.
I don't
quite
think
honestly.
I do either most of the time. All right, ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Was she like sleep deprived, this girl in this movie?
Yeah. Well, because they've been trying to make her not sleep, you know?
But she didn't even see Freddy, did she?
No, but she heard his name. The plot's weird.
Okay.
It's a good plot, though. I mean, I like it.
Plot's weird because the movie's trash.
Shut up, you're a dick.
Freddy sends
Wish you
Jason
weren't such a
to
dick.
Elm Street for
But
some
it makes
reason.
sense. No, because it makes sense because he's trying to get his name back so that people like think it's him, and then that way he gets stronger again because he's weak because people forgot about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the whole power of fear fucking thing. Dude.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like not that hard.
That's rude. All right.
Rude but true.
Anyway.
Sad but true.
Oh god, that was sad.
I know.
And
but true.
Okay. All right. Ready? Hey everybody, welcome.
I forgot to do my snap. You have your clap. I have my snap.
The clap. All right.
Clap on, clap off.
That's how I got the clap.
Oh,
Anyway, that was fucking stupid.
that was stupid.
All right.
But it'll be in the outtakes.
All right.